how's it going? My name's Anthony, and lately I've been pretty lonely and I've been wanting to make some new friends. So I've been going into this YouTube wormhole, just watching a whole bunch of videos, and this video caught my eye. The video is called Why Are You Lonely and How to Make Friends. So let's dive into the video.
Friends make life good. They provide the scaffolding that makes it not just bearable, but fun. They give us a sense of meaning and purpose and are a source of security, self-esteem, and happiness. Almost nothing predicts how happy you will be as how connected you feel, and a lack of social connection is associated with a number of diseases and a shorter life.
First off, the animations, props to this guy. There's a lot of work that went into this video. I'm absolutely here for it because it draws you in. I just love the colors, the tones, how everything's flowing so far. I love this type of animation. His narration, it's so on point, and his voice, it sounds so good.
But maybe you have scrolled through your phone unsure who to call to go to a movie with, to celebrate with, or ask for comfort. You may realize that you don't have enough friends and feel lonely. And it's not just you. Disconnectedness and loneliness are widespread. This
right here, disconnectedness and loneliness. We have connections at our fingertips. You can instantaneously call someone or send a message or reach out to, I don't know, a random stranger via Instagram or Twitter or even on like dating apps. And like, they're so hooked onto this little device, they don't know how to interact and make genuine friends anymore in the real world. That's just how I've seen it so far.
Many people want more close friends but don't know how to get them. Surprisingly, nowadays, loneliness is highest among young people, whose relationships were also hit especially hard by the global pandemic. Social distancing stopped teens and young adults from mingling in classrooms, clubs, or dorms. Millions of friendships, maybe lifelong friendships, that might have blossomed will never exist, with profound long-term consequences for our collective happiness.
He knew where I was going, or maybe I knew where he was going, but I just wasn't patient enough to keep on watching. That pandemic, it did hit us really hard, and I think it did stunt a lot of friendships. A lot of people go to schools and they'll make friends in these communities, and without being able to, I guess, have that social interaction and just everything being online, it feels less genuine. You can't really feel people out and, you know, react to their body language.
The good news is that it's not too late and there are lots of friends to be found. We'll mix scientific information with actionable advice in this video, but we can't address every individual situation. People, cultures, and schedules are different. If you suffer from chronic loneliness, you can also watch the video we made about it.
Wow, that was a good plug. That was genuinely, I might have to watch that video after I watch this video.
As with all important things in life, making friends is infuriatingly simple, but not necessarily easy. But it works through a few pretty straightforward mechanisms. The most important thing about making friends. People make friends with other people when they spend casual time together. This is how our ancestors formed their relationships, because humans lived in small, close-knit communities in which options for making friends were limited, so we just formed good relationships with the people who were around us. This is why it's so easy to form new friendships in school and university. Society locks you and your peers in a building for several years. You share similar activities, but more importantly, similar schedules. Overlapping and fluctuating social circles form, naturally giving you regular FaceTime and shared experiences with many different people. Time to find others with similar worldviews or senses of humor.
What else can I say? This guy hit it on the nail. Reflecting on my own life, most of my best friends or good friends are people that I met in school or through friends from school. It's just the cycle of how it happens. It forces you to be out there and connect with multiple people, you know, and having them in a setting where they do have to interact with one another on a day-to-day basis. I think that's the best way.
Proximity can be more important than similar interests. One study found that in student dormitories, the distance between rooms was the strongest friendship predictor. Living closer together meant a higher chance of becoming friends. Another study showed that being physically present in a class a lot without saying a word makes others more sympathetic to you. So the most important principle of making friends is to regularly spend time with people in the real world. This alone can make it happen automatically and trumps all other advice. But don't forget that making friends is not a numbers game or a competition. Don't compare yourself to others. everyone has a social calibrator that can change as you go through life. Maybe you were more introverted as a teen, but yearn for connection in your 20s. Maybe you were part of sprawling social circles, but prefer fewer friends in your 30s. There is no right or wrong, only right for you.
This is such amazing advice in this video. Everybody's situation is different. You can't just go out and force people to be your friends. That's why it's kind of weird when you're like sitting in a coffee shop and then you walk up to somebody that you're like, hey, that person looks cool, but maybe on their side they're like, whoa, this dude's a little bit weird. And I get that a lot. So just don't force it too much, you know?
Why we don't have enough friends. The main reason for a lack of friendships is the simple fact that most people don't prioritize friendships nearly enough. They don't realize until it's too late that retaining friendships demands regular energy and attention. Although they are so important for happiness, friends often take a back seat to other life decisions. Work, commuting, romance, or kids take up so much time and energy that it's so much easier to crash on your couch and lose yourself in mindless activities. Especially as an adult, going for a bike ride, getting dinner, or visiting a hobby store takes much more mental effort and commitment than it did after school when time ran slower and energy and curiosity were abundant.
I really see this a lot. As a kid growing up, you kind of just see all your friends and being like, whoa, we're gonna be best buds for life. And then things change. Sometimes it's like from middle school to high school, you lose a lot of friends and you make a lot of new ones. And the same thing from high school to college. It's just a life cycle where people start becoming more focused on themselves as they grow older, want to have more of that alone time and freedom to spend with a smaller group of people. When you're young and you have birthday parties, you have a lot larger birthday parties. You'll just start inviting everybody from your class, even if you're not best friends with them or not. But when you get older, a birthday tends to be a dinner party with your significant other and maybe a close few of your best friends. As time goes on, people don't prioritize relationships as much as they should because of social norms. You have to have a good job and you have to focus on your career. All that type of stuff is good, but to what end? You're gonna be making all this money and you're gonna have to leave it all behind, but those relationships and all of the experiences that you can get from going out, hanging out, spending time with people, like those connections are so much more worth the money. Don't go broke and homeless because you've watched this video. You should be continually nurturing those friendships and relationships as you continue to grow because those are the building blocks to having a good life.
But it's not just adults who are too busy for friends. The average American teenager spends more time on TikTok every day than socializing at parties, events, or on the phone with friends combined. Established friendships don't require the same time investment as early friendships to keep up, but they do require some commitment. As life distracts you, it's easy to skip out on checking in when a friend goes through exciting or depressing times. And so many friendships fade for lack of attention, often by accident. Which is extra tragic because there is never only one person losing a friend, it's always at least two.
I have never done this math. 1 + 1 = 2, and it makes so much sense. Because if you lose a friend and the other person is also losing a friend, that's 2 people losing a friend. Bro, maybe I'm just this guy. I love it.
Another thing that makes many people vulnerable is the way friendship networks are structured. The friendship paradox is the phenomenon that on average, most people have fewer friends than their friends. Which makes sense since you're more likely to be friends with someone who has many friends than with someone who has few. Rather than being densely interconnected, friend networks are often built around central hubs. So if central people disappear from your life, this can deprive you of many connections at once. And it can lead to a distorted self-perception that you are less popular than others, although you are perfectly average. It can get worse quickly with big life events. Maybe you move for school, work, or love and are left without social networks. Or you had a breakup that left you with a smaller part of the formerly shared social pie. The reasons why you find yourself with less connection than you want are as diverse as people, but the underlying cause is almost always time. There is no shortcut. To make new friends and retain friendships, you have to prioritize relationships, spend time with people in real life, and make them feel that you care. So take a look at yourself and rebalance what you spend your life doing.
So much information, I felt like everything was almost spot on with what he was saying. Friend groups are mostly made in social settings such as schools or in churches or in some sort of communal event. When you disconnect from that, then you lose not just one person, but you usually lose a group of people because they're usually connected to that event. I feel like that takes a bigger toll on most people than they realize, especially in this time and age when so much stuff is online. You definitely are doing things by yourself more frequently because we didn't have the internet like that, and you would have to physically show up to be able to participate in school lectures and to do group work and whatnot.
How to make new friends. Studies have shown that new friendships can develop quite quickly, weeks after you meet someone, but it takes a few months for a casual friendship to become a close relationship, with the biggest impediment being time invested and the quality of your interactions. To make friends, it helps if you intentionally look for people you have things in common with and who are open to new relationships.
Just being open to people who are doing the same things as you is the best way to make friends and to interact with people. New friendships can develop really quickly, but only to the point of where the two individuals want it to blossom. If you have one person who definitely wants to become friends, they're just kind of putting all the time and effort and stuff, but one person's a little bit more reserved and they're kind of like laid back, not taking as much effort, that can reach a certain point and then it just kind of plateaus. It just flatlines and it goes downhill from there. It definitely has to be both sides putting in the energy and matching everything together.
You want to make it easy for yourself, so examine what kind of person you are. Generally speaking, extroverts tend to crave sensory stimulation, spicier foods, loud music, or the excitement of engaging a crowd.
I know this from like just being myself, that extrovert thing. Some of those things apply to me, most of those things don't. That's just kind of weird. How did they get to the point where they're like, yo, extroverts just love eating spicy? Because if that's the case, then I'm one of the most extroverted people out there that I know. That's not the case.
Introverts, often confused with shy people, tend to be more sensitive to sensory stimulants and prefer quieter surroundings, fewer people, and even less spicy food.
There we go. I'm just jumping the gun. I was mistaking being shy for being introverted.
Different places attract different people. Not everybody can easily make friends at a bar or a football game. Not everybody finds a stroll through a park or a bookstore stimulating. Men especially form friendships around shared activities.
I love the animation with the bear and chopping wood because that's such, I wouldn't say it's like a manly thing to do, but it's like one of those things that dudes would just get a rip from. You're just like hacking at a tree with an axe and a bunch of other dudes are hacking at a tree. All of a sudden y'all are homies because now you can hack at a single tree with multiple axes together.
But in general, it's a good idea to go to places that feel comfortable, where there are people you might like who do things you find interesting. Look for local clubs or opportunities to volunteer. Check out what hobby stores are around and dust off your Space Marines, or see if there are new D&D groups in your city and ask if you could join one. Check meetup apps for gaming nights or wine tasting, join a sports club, or look for people who go hiking or want to cook together.
Taking the initiative and reaching out, like bro, it's a lot harder than how simply he makes it seem, because it is a lot of time and a lot of effort. Do your due diligence and you can, find a group of people that you're like, whoa, I kind of want to join this group, but then when you do, it doesn't turn out how you want to. It's kind of trial and error in that sense, and you just got to be willing to go through it. Take the time, put in the effort. That's how the best friendships are made.
Another obvious avenue is your professional life. It helps if you work in a job that attracts people like you, so you might consider this when you choose a career. Deepening your relationship with colleagues can lead to great friendships, especially if you look for peers and there is no power imbalance.
Work, I say, is also such a great place to meet friends and meet people. It's just a nice place to harbor relationships, especially if you work in a place that's like really big and vibrant and has a lot of different people. I'm a firm believer in choosing a job or a career path that doesn't make it seem like work. So if you enjoy your work and you enjoy what you do, it's going to be more beneficial for you in the long run. So you shouldn't just be going after connections and the money. You got to choose something, that a hobby that you're interested in, and then you'll meet more people who are also interested in that hobby.
And of course, there are friends you've lost touch with. You may be able to revive some of these relationships. In some cases, all it needs is a call or an invitation. Research shows that more often than not, the other person will appreciate that you've reached out. There are likely way more opportunities to spend time with others than you are aware of. And if there aren't, you can take the initiative and create them. Invitations are signals to start friendships. So bring people together by having a dinner party, organizing a football game after work, or starting a board game group. Everybody appreciates people who organize fun things, and the simple act of reaching out can kickstart a self-propelling upward spiral of well-being, fun, and connectedness that can seriously improve the life of everyone around you in meaningful ways. If you meet someone you vibe with, it's pretty scary to make the first move, but they may feel the same way. Equally interested in a friendship, but also blocked by fear of rejection. So it's worth going for it. Worst case, they're not interested, which will sting for a few hours, but the best case could be a lifelong friendship. A risk well worth the reward.
Rejection is a thing that so many people fear, but if you go through it enough and you kind of like reflect on it, it's not that bad. You go up and they're like, no. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, cool. And then you just move on with your life. It's not that bad, people. Come on now. I'm giving you advice, but I'm also giving myself advice because I'm currently sitting here talking into the camera. This is just something that I need to be able to do, but you should be doing it too.
Once you've formed early connections, check in whether they have important things happening in their life. Of course, it's important not to be overbearing, but the more time you invest, the more opportunity you have to engage in meaningful banter or silly jokes. The fact that friendships take time also means that you need to be patient and kind with yourself, especially if you're out of practice. Things will not improve overnight, but slowly, step by step, if you keep up.
That was so profound. Take your time with it. Try and be yourself as much as possible because it's really hard to play a character for the rest of your life, and sooner or later it's going to come out. So might as well just be yourself, then you'll actually make friendships that last. But also remember that everybody has a social battery. Make sure you recharge it once in a while. Take a day for yourself. Don't just keep on going at it, and don't be overbearing, and it will help you crazily. You will be able to see that friendships blossom a lot more when you give them the time and space that they need to do their own things, but also to stay relevant enough to be in your life.
Many people don't have an issue being around others, but struggle to turn acquaintances into friends. So let's talk about two important principles that make it more likely that you'll connect: caring and sharing. In general, our favorite topic is ourselves and the things we care about, because we are literally at the center of our own universe. So people tend to like people who are genuinely interested in them. So if you want to make friends, your goal should be trying to learn what makes them tick. Just as important as caring about others is reciprocity and openness. To connect, you need to share the experiences that made you, you. Now, you don't want to overwhelm the other person and immediately spill out your deepest secrets, but open up a little and reveal personal things, because this also signals to others that it's okay to do the same.
Just the back and forth of a relationship is what is very necessary. You actually got to care about what the other person is saying. You can't just listen to listen. And then you also got to be open enough where it's not like you're in a therapy session. One person is just giving all the information, and then you over here is just taking all the information, but you're not giving any information back. It's basic stuff, but a lot of people need to kind of look into themselves and learn. Sometimes it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable. People don't care about you as much as they care about themselves. And I think that's such an important thing that, if you do share something that's a little bit embarrassing, yeah, sure, they might remember it and they might not care at all. But even if they do care, it's not the end of the world, because like I said, people care about themselves more than they care about you.
The best case is that you find shared experiences. Maybe you both had a hard time in school, maybe you share a passion for weird movies. Learning about others and sharing personal stories in a balanced way and not overdoing it is not an exact science. Noticing the line between opening up and oversharing requires practice and depends on the vibe of the conversation. One of the perplexities of life is that to get something, it can be helpful to convince yourself that you want it less than you do. In general, it's good to be laid back, have fun, and enjoy yourself. Do things for yourself without expectations, but also be open to social opportunities and accept invitations if they show up. And that's basically it. Give friendships more priority in your life. Check in with friends and regularly go to things to have fun. Show genuine interest in others and give them the opportunity to know you without selling yourself too hard. If you do this, you're on track. If this sounds a bit scary, the good news is that human brains are hardwired to seek connection. It's perfectly normal to seek out new friends, and there are many people who would welcome more close relationships. There are friendships up for grabs everywhere, and there are plenty of people who will be so happy to have you in their life. As a good friend, go get to know them.
You have to get to know people, and you just gotta be open. It might be the scariest thing in the world to approach a new person. Sometimes after you do approach that person, you guys just click, and all of a sudden you have a new person to go out to breakfast with, and you don't have to eat by yourself. So this is such good advice. Okay, anyways, this video, so well done. I felt like I was in a documentary watching like Animal Planet. They put so much work into it, and I can just tell. So biggest points that I took away are the loneliness is a thing that comes and goes. Everybody experiences it sometime in their life. It's just a human activity to be lonely sometimes. People go through it, and especially in this time and era of ultimate connection, but so much disconnection because everything is so easily achieved. It's just the time and effort that needs to be put into place. Like if you're lonely, get the help, and it's normal. Don't stress about it too much. Just know that there are things that you can do to get yourself out of it. And then to make friends, just start being in situations that you want to be in. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will be back soon. I'm liking this reaction stuff, so I'll be doing more reactions more frequently. Make sure you guys subscribe and leave a comment down below about what you think and what video I should do next. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peaces.